Hello everyone, back tuning into today's second video. We're going to have a look at the weather for the next week to 10 days. For today's second video, that takes us pretty much to the middle part of June, and we'll be able to extend out beyond that with the extended GFS and ECM ensembles. They run to around a couple of weeks. Have a look at CFS V2 at the end of the video. That will take us to the first day of July. So I've already released the ECMWF 30-day look out for the UK and for Europe too. Quite a changeable sort of June coming up and down temperatures. Always coolest and wettest though in the west of Europe, so not a particularly good outlook for June for the UK and for Ireland. But have a look at that anyway and see what's happening. The third be up tonight is going to be for Download and the Isle of Wight Festival. Update number 2 will be coming up this evening. Right, so we've got the climate averages in from the UK Met for May. Now we have updated them for the UK. So this is how the temperature anomaly was looking during May 2019 for the UK, set against 81 to 2010 average. And you see it was rather a cool month actually. Most places coming out very, very close to average, set against 81 to 2010. But we do see in the north and west, it was rather cooler than average. So across northern Scotland, cooler than average month there, down into southwest Scotland, northwest England, also a bit cooler than average parts of Wales, and even down to southwest England, a little bit cooler than average there. Most other places came out close to average with their temperature anomalies during May, I should say. This outward precipitation anomaly is looking for May. A proper northeast-southwest split. So across northern and eastern parts of Scotland, May was a very wet month actually, particularly for eastern parts of Scotland. Really, really wet, over 200% of average across some parts of eastern Scotland. Very wet month there. But down in the southwest, it's a very dry month. So through Wales, southwest England, central southern England, substantially drier than average there. Elsewhere in between, kind of like through northern England, eastern parts of England, we're around average with precipitation. So real northwest southeast or northeast southwest split going on there for precipitation. Quite an interesting deviation, interesting anomaly for rainfall. Let's have a look, shall we, at sunshine, see how we did for sunshine. So across Scotland, it's a pretty dull month, actually, below average sunshine, and for Northern Ireland too. But for parts of England and Wales, it was a slightly sunnier than average month, particularly through parts of sort of the Midlands up into Lincolnshire, Yorkshire, those sort of areas look a little bit sunnier than average, and also parts of southwestern England too. And also, generally, the further north you went, the duller it got during this month. Now that we've got May's data in, we will be able to work out what happened with the spring. And that means we'll be able to verify the GasWeathers.com spring 2019 forecast very shortly. We'll do that one day this week. Not sure what day it will be. Possibly Friday, maybe Saturday. But certainly in the next few days, we will do a verification for the spring forecast based on those averages. And I've got a feeling the spring forecast went okay. I don't think it was too bad a forecast, actually, for the spring. But we shall see when we do the verification for it. Right, these are the GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles for the next couple of weeks. We're at Sunbury-on-Thames. Today, someone's asked me to have a look at Sunbury-on-Thames. So, the red line is a 30-year upper air temperature average for Sunbury-on-Thames. And we're still a little bit on the warm and average side at the moment. We're going to go cooler and average in the next 24 hours or so. And then essentially, the rest of this week and into weekend dates on the bottom of the chart, of course. The rest of this week and weekend keeping things pretty cool, taking us up to the middle part of June, really a little bit on the cool and average side. And as we get into the second half of the month, we find that temperatures go a little bit warmer. There are still these hot outliers appearing within the extended range. So we've got these ensemble members up here. They are genuinely hot ensemble members, these. They would take temperatures to or above 30 degrees Celsius. At the moment, they are still outliers, but they keep showing up. The overall trend is relatively cool up to the middle part of June, seemingly. and then getting a bit warmer into second half of June. Small chance, small possibility, but it could turn really hot in the second half of June. At the moment, only outliers going that far. What we can say is that it looks like we're in for a bit of a deluge. So these spikes on the floor of the chart are actually precipitation, rainfall spikes, and you see pretty much from today onwards, really, there's going to be plenty of wet weather around. Most notable is this spike just here. Really big rainfall spike, and that's Friday. Friday could well bring some torrential rain up from France, so it could get really wet across many parts of the country on Friday, and then that rain transferring northwards into the weekend. Beyond that, it just looks very unsettled really going up to the middle part of June. So after such a prolonged dry spell of weather, it does look like things are breaking here, and that looks substantially, significantly wetter through the first half of June. Here's the temperature anomaly for the next week. This takes us from the 4th to the 12th of June, and it's really below average, not just for the UK and Ireland, but for most parts of France, Spain, Portugal. So it's going to be a pretty cool week coming up from the 4th through to the 12th of June, and also wetter than average. Talking about 4th to the 12th of June, precipitation anomaly is wetter than average for the UK, for Ireland, for France, above average rainfall coming up. So cool and wet sums it up. Not really what you want to be seeing in June, in total contrast, of course, to June last year. Right, so this is how the 6 o'clock GFS run is looking for Friday, and this is the area of low pressure that we're looking to push northwards and potentially bring thundery or even torrential rain on Friday to England and Wales. Here comes that low pushing northwards through Friday. Friday could be a real washout across a large part of England and Wales. Could be one of those days where it's pouring down from morning until evening across parts of England and Wales. Could well see up to 25 millimetres, maybe more, rainfall falling over quite a wide area with this area of low pressure on Friday. And then that low pressure transfers northwards into Saturday. On its southern flank, it starts pulling quite a strong wind too. So during Friday itself, it's just really heavy rain moving up from the south. But overnight Friday to Saturday, as the rain pushes north to Scotland, on the southern flank, we could see the wind getting up. It could get really quite windy across parts of particularly northern England and North Wales during the course of Friday night. Low pressure just keeps sitting around the country into the weekend. That's going to bring further showers or even longer spells of rain. And we're going to next week still under a trough of low pressure. Heading up towards day 10, that's how we're looking. So we're trying to build a little bit of a ridge across the south on day 10, trying to get a bit of high pressure building from France. But really, low pressure is still in control of the weather out in the Atlantic. Got another pretty deep area of low pressure just here. That's only going in one direction. So let's see what happens with that as we go into the weekend of the 15th and 16th of June. We keep it unsettled, really. Low pressure in control, bringing further showers, if not longer spells of rain. Got a nice ridge across many parts of Europe. That's bringing lots of dry and hot weather to much of much of southern Europe. But in the northwest, across the northern parts of Europe, it is low pressure and it's still well and truly in control. That's how we finish up with the GFS run today, taking us to Thursday, the 20th of June. And unfortunately, we still find ourselves under an unsettled regime. It's not particularly unsettled on that particular day because we've got a slight transient bump of high pressure actually from the Azores high. But you see the broad theme is still low pressure in control. Low pressure's up here, low pressure's around there. A developing area of low pressure just here. That's going to go in that direction. So although for that particular chart on the 20th of June, which of course is over 2 weeks away anyway, so probably won't verify. But for that particular chart, we are under a little bit of a transient bump of high pressure, but it's still a really unsettled weather pattern overall that we're into even going into the second half of June. This is GFS parallel run. That's how it's looking for Friday. So there's that low coming out of Biscay, moving northwards. That could be a real rainmaker for England or Wales during Friday. And then that moves up to Scotland for Saturday. On its southern flank, it turns very windy. Could get a notable spell of summer. Wouldn't necessarily say gales, but could get a notable spell of strong summer winds, let's say, on Friday night into Saturday across parts of England and Wales. And we just keep low pressure dumbbelling around the country as we go through into next week too. So the unsettled weather continues into next week. Look at all this northern blocking that keeps going across Greenland and Iceland. That's why northern blocking is essentially bad news for summer, unless you like your summers cool and wet, because when you've got high pressure around Greenland and Iceland, you'll get low pressure in the summer underneath it, and that's exactly what's going on there. Up to day 10, we keep things unsettled still. High pressures up to our north, low pressures over and to our south. Further showers or longer spells of rain taking us to the middle of June. Into the extended range for the second half of June, that's how we're looking. So very gradually, heights are beginning to rise a little bit. By the time we get through to the 20th of June, we're starting to suggest some ridging coming in from the north and the west. But it all looks a bit flimsy, it all looks a bit tentative, really. And certainly up to the middle part of June, it does look unsettled. ECMWF, again, there's that low pressure at midnight on Friday. It's in the Bay of Biscay. It's heading northwards. Let's see where the ECM has that low by midnight Saturday, and there it is right over top of the UK, just there. So obviously that brings us soaking to many parts of England and Wales as well. Then that low pressure carries on going further northwards into Sunday. Sunday probably sunshine and showers, and then into next week, keeping things generally quite unsettled through the first half of the week. The second half of the week, though, does start to bring some high pressure in from the north. So we get this high pressure taking over in the Norwegian Sea. It breaks us out of the unsettled condition. It's not particularly warm. The winds are coming in from an east-northeasterly direction, so it's not going to be a heat wave, but it certainly breaks us out of the wet weather through the course of next week. However, I'm not sure how much support that has. It doesn't appear to have a great deal of support from the GFS. Let's have a look at the ECM ensembles, see how much support there is for that within the ECM ensembles. So these are the options that are on the table for day 10. Which is taking us to the 14th of June, 240 hours away. Got 18 members of the ECM ensembles with high pressure ridging through the country. They look mainly dry and settled, and the jet stream's pushing northwards with those ones too. A lot of dry and warm weather with them. 14, including the ECM control run with high pressure over just a little bit to our northeast. So that one has us settling down as well by day 10. 11 has a high pressure over and kind of like to our east, low pressures up to the north. So again, suggesting that high pressure's returning by day 10. And then there's 8 with northern blocking up here and also a ridge to our northeast, low pressure down to the southwest. So they could still be a little bit showery, particularly for some of the west parts of the country. But generally, again, the trend is towards higher pressure. That includes the operational run, the run we're just looking at. So within the ECM ensembles, it does actually appear, and maybe that's a bit surprising given what we just saw with the GFS output, but within the ECM ensembles, it does appear that by the middle of June, the trend is still towards high pressure. Let's have a look at the options that we've got in 2 weeks' time with the ECM ensembles. This gets us to the 19th of June, so 13 with a ridge through the country and going to our north. They're pretty pleasant. We've got 11 with high pressure blocking in the Norwegian Sea, so that's bringing in wind from an east-northeasterly direction, very similar to what the ECM operational run was showing. 10 with a ridge over the top of the country, all high pressure dominators, you see, or most of them are anyway. 9 though have low pressure coming in from the Atlantic, so they're breaking the ridge down and turning things more unsettled. And then there's 8 with high pressure to our south-southeast, low pressure to our northwest, and they're a little bit more unsettled too. However, it does look as though for the middle part of June and going into the second half of the month, the trend is towards higher pressure within the ECM ensembles. We shall see. Finally, CFS V2. These are 500 millibar heights broken down into week periods. The first week period takes us from the 4th to the 10th of June with below average heights over to the west of the country. And we're bringing in a westerly flow, something a little bit like that. So showers or longer spells of rain and relatively cool in the next few days. Week 2 is looking like this. It's the 11th to the 17th of June with above average heights to our north and east, below average heights to our south. That'll be a lot warmer. Winds are coming up from a southeasterly direction, but maybe a little bit wet, possibly even a little bit thundery, particularly for southern parts of the country. Week 3 is the 18th to the 24th of June with above average heights across Central Europe, but also going to our north, below average heights in the Atlantic. So probably turning increasingly dry and warm with that one. And then we go through to week 4, which is the 25th of June to the 1st of July. Looks like there's a ridge building through the country then, so increasing trends towards high pressure and drier, warmer conditions after an unsettled start to June. We're at CFS V2, and that's a trend within the ECM ensembles as well towards high pressure. So although it all looks a bit grim at the moment, it all looks very unsettled, very wet, very inclement really for summer. It looks as though the trend, maybe not with the GFS, but certainly with the CFS, the long range model, and the ECM ensembles, it looks like the trend is still towards higher pressure for the middle of June and possibly something a good deal drier and warmer into the second half of the month. So maybe pattern change on the way in around a week to 10 days time, but for the time being, certainly for the rest of this week, over the weekend, and certainly into the first half of next week anyway, it looks pretty unsettled, quite showery, and relatively cool as well. And then we'll see whether we build the high pressure in for the middle part of the month and beyond. Right, so that's it for your second video update. We'll be back tonight with a second update for download and also the Isle of Wight Festival. So events and festivals, updates, forecasts, well and truly underway at Tagazwa. It's now download and Isle of Wight Festival will be the next update coming up this evening. Right, that's all for now though, and thanks for watching.